Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Hi, folks. Welcome back. And those of you that are new, welcome. I'm going to try this again. And the story on what I call Biden's Ministry of Truth, the collusion between the big tech monsters and the American government, a.k.a. Department of Homeland Security, FBI, and so forth, to stifle speech in the disguise of fighting misinformation. This is third world country, Soviet Union bloc type things. And the video that I put out on it was basically killed by the algorithm here on this website. I won't say the name because the algorithm might pick it up. And let's try it again. Now, the reporter in The Intercept, which reminds me, when the video that I put out, if you can go back and look in my videos, you'll see there won't be a link to the article from The Intercept. It was removed by YouTube. Well, there I said the names too late, and it's okay. And I find that to be incredibly offensive. That kind of censorship. All it was a link for the full article, because it was quite a long article and I couldn't cover it all. This is what this site is doing. It's not disinformation, but they killed the link. I can put a link in my own YouTube channel if I want, but they say no. So let's try this story again. Check it out.
Established its own Ministry of Truth. It was so ridiculous it had to be disbanded almost immediately. The woman running it was so far out, she was a parody and discredited the censorship movement. But that doesn't mean DHS has stopped trying to censor you. Oh, they are. You just didn't know about it. Thanks to The Intercept, which just obtained many years of internal documents from DHS, we know that companies like Facebook and Twitter have been working closely with the Biden administration to, quote, curb speech that the administration doesn't approve of. Emails also show that Twitter's top censor, Vijay Gadde, which was fired by Elon Musk, met every month with the Biden administration censors at DHS to talk about new ways to get you to shut up in unconstitutional fashion.
Now, is he being a little melodramatic? Yeah, a little. But he's trying to prove a point. And that is her, and she was fired by Elon Musk. The cat's out of the bag. This has been going on for a long time.
Lee broke this story. He's an investigative journalist at The Intercept. He joins us tonight. Lee, thanks so much for coming on. This seems like a really important story, which is for some reason being ignored. Do we get the outlines right? The administration is working with the tech companies to censor people.
Yeah, that's right. You know, Tucker, we looked at really hundreds of documents that paint a vivid picture of the FBI, the DHS, closely collaborating with the top social media platforms, Twitter and Facebook, to censor various forms of content under the banner of fighting disinformation. And the story shows a couple of things. One, it shows what you just mentioned, a very cozy relationship between the government and these tech giants. There's those monthly meetings that you just mentioned, but also just very cozy emails and texts. Not a very adversarial relationship. You know, we looked at one text where Microsoft executive texts Jen Easterly, the top disinfo director at DHS appointed by Biden, basically saying the private sector needs to get more comfortable with the government. They're closely collaborating on reports talking about the expanded role for DHS in censoring a really broad collection of topic areas of policy and political topics. And, you know, just broadly speaking, the story also just looks at the mission creep of DHS. This is an agency that was founded in the aftermath of 9/11 to combat foreign terror threats of Al-Qaeda and the like. But over the last 5 years, it's kind of evolved in its mission. It's moved towards fighting disinfo, and their justification is, you know, disinformation radicalizes the homeland. It can lead to disruptions in public health or in political violence. So they have a justification. We have these documents, and they're pushing forward with this broad censorship agenda.
Now, I'll just leave it at that. That, folks, is the story of the year, maybe even of the decade. Unbelievable. A handful of President Biden's most important federal agencies are stepping up efforts to monitor and counteract misinformation. And that's in quotation marks, of course. Who gets to decide what misinformation is? Same as a hate crime. It's ridiculous and absurd. And as Jordan Peterson said, the people that end up defining what misinformation is and what a hate crime is exactly the wrong people, the opposite people that you need if you are willing to do it. And of course, administrations change. So we get to change who decides what's hate speech, what's misinformation. That, folks, is a huge, huge First Amendment violation. The action by the federal agencies come as Missouri and Louisiana are pursuing legal action against Biden, former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, and Dr. Anthony Fauci, and other top administrative officials. The two states say these officials pressured and colluded with big tech social media companies to censor and suppress information on the Hunter Biden laptop story, which they did. COVID-19 origins and security of voting by mail during the pandemic. And that's what this boils down to. Political advantage. Go after and stifle your political enemies. DHS came under scrutiny for its un-American board, which critics on the left and right called an effort to chill the free speech, the right to free speech. As a result, DHS terminated the board in late May. They terminated the board, but they didn't get rid of the practice. Now Republicans are sounding the alarm. Reports of DHS involvement and efforts to be the arbiter of truth in wide-ranging topics are extremely concerning. Anybody that's seen 1984, what is the main job of the main character? Ministry of Truth. He goes back and changes articles from the past, changes history, deletes them, changes them to their advantage. So that way you control the history and the narrative of what people see and what they think and hear. That, folks, is draconian and authoritarian. The American people do not approve of the department engaging in unclear, unaccountable, and opaque efforts led by the Biden administration's ever-changing definition of truth. We don't care if they're accountable. You can't have a board to tell you what is true. That is the job of the press. And they're not doing a very good one. And they haven't been for a long time. However, the agency maintains that misinformation is a national security threat that must be addressed. And there we have it. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security is charged with safeguarding the United States against threats to its security, including threats exacerbated by misinformation. Oh, you mean like the Russian hoax? We can go through the list, is endless. Constant pounding on a sitting president. I mean, they went after him for what, 3 days because he got 2 scoops of ice cream instead of 1? I mean, that kind of misinformation? Mayorkas here should be fired. Don't give him a chance to resign. Fire his sorry ass. This is ridiculous. This is the same guy, by the way, that's late leaving the border open and then calling everybody that criticized him racist. This is ridiculous. These people have to go. The DHS Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency, CISA, was formed under Donald Trump. I'm a big Trump fan, but I'm telling you right now, he never should have signed that. Maybe he's just too naive to think that what they would do with it. I really don't know. Concerns by critics stem from the fact that the Biden administration has repeatedly stated that white supremacists are the greatest threats to the nation and has enacted a new domestic terrorism policy. I live in upstate New York. We have a local hockey team. It holds 8,000 people in the arena where they play. If you put all the really and true white supremacists in the United States, I doubt if it could fill up a hockey rink. Out of 340 million plus people. Unbelievable. This is an announcement from the White House in June of last year. The U.S. government will also find ways to counter the polarization often fueled by disinformation, misinformation, and dangerous conspiracy theories online, supporting an information environment that fosters healthy domestic discourse. They're going to be your parent. They're going to tell you what to say and what to think. The First Amendment, the Constitution, they're wiping their behinds with it. And we're allowing it to happen. And this happened long before Biden was sworn in. He just escalated it because this is definitely to his advantage politically. I'll breeze through the rest of the article here. You can stop it if you want to. There's another piece of garbage. Should be terminated, should be impeached. Maybe the Republicans, if they take over the House and the Senate, will impeach these guys if they grow a set. Like I said, I'll breeze through this. And the Hunter Biden laptop is the glaring example. And this is a very long article. I'll leave the link in the description. We'll see if this website will keep the link. It's going to get to a point when I'm going to put a lot more videos on Rumble. Just because you leave a link to the article you're talking about and they censor it and they edit it without even telling me. I never even got a notification. By the way, we took this out. They just did it. This is out of control, folks. These people think they can do whatever they want to, whenever they want to. And those of you that think, well, the people that run this website or a private business, they can do what they want to. Actually, no. They're protected by Article 230 of the Communications Act. You can't have it both ways. Editing content is being a publisher. They're a platform. They can't have it both ways. They've been getting it both ways for a very long time, and this has to stop. Voting is a good first step in that direction. They're panicking because of the midterms. They're panicking because of what's happening to Twitter, and they think they may be next. And I hope to God they are. Until the next time, goodbye and good luck.